Okay, please go to this link. Okay, please go to the link I have shared in the chat box. Because my voice will be duplicating in both the places. Uh, just keep that tab on mute and come back to Google Meet, please. Okay. See, that way what happens if I again keep it live, it will unnecessarily uh, create a problem for me. Then, yeah? So please do that. Okay. So let's proceed now. Step one is what we want to do here is create a node-based application, and okay. So your node-based application, how they actually work, and I will explain you that first. So here, let me add up a page and show you something. Node have some internal modules. Okay. Node comes with pre-installed modules. Those are what third like inbuilt modules, which are available by default to them. Then after the inbuilt modules, there are user defined modules which you will define and you will use yourself. Then after that, you have got something called as third party modules. Now you tell me, if you require some dependency, like in your mobile, where do you go and find it? Like if you want to install an application which is not installed for you by default, where do you go and find it? Play Store or App Store, right? In For example, in your Apple, you will go to Play Store or App Store. In Apple, you will go to App Store. In Google, will go to Play Store. So how exactly the same relation is sort of here, and here we have got a website called as npm.js, which is called as Node Package Manager, which is called as Node Package Manager. So on this Node Package Manager, what we exactly do is I can depict this with a very simple image to you. Let me just see where I can find. I must be having it somewhere. Okay. I hope you all recognize them. Yes, I hope you all recognize them. Yeah. So now, how does their friendship work at this point? How does their friendship work? You know that? Think of it. How does their friendship work? So here, see what we have here. It's He's like our application, Nobita. is our application, any JavaScript based application, and Doraemon is npm for me, which stands for what? Node package manager. Remember this diagram to always remember the relationship between them. If I want to go and find something like dependency which is not available with me directly, I will do what? I will go to npm, ask with them that can you please give me, yeah, that can you please give me that required dependency. So here we have some a website called as npm.js. So if I take you there, it is more or less like a play store for us. Okay, this is more or less like a play store for us. So if I go to npm.js, see, this is where everyone comes and hosts their application. So for example, Express is what I'll be using as a server. See, fast, unopinionated, minimalist web server. So I will have to do what? npm install Express. This is from where I will go and find. You will see me doing the same thing. Yeah, you will see me doing the same thing. At same time, I want to use MySQL. So I'll say MySQL, and it will give me how can I bring MySQL into my application. Okay. So npm install MySQL, and this is like a library I will use for working with MySQL. Okay, this is like a library I will use for working with MySQL. We also have something called as MySQL2, which is much more, you can say, what recent one. The MySQL one was not the previous one, so we'll be using this one. And also, if you see when we start my application, I will be using something called as node parser, body parser. So it's like it parse the incoming request into, like, this is how I will convert my incoming JavaScript into a Java object. So using this combination. So how do I start an application? So let me do what, start up an application in this training. I will go and create a folder. See, the only reason I'm like, see, this will, I will just go through the steps now, keeping in interest the time and everything as well, because you might also had a long day. I will perform these processes and I will push this to a Git repo. Okay, so that later on you will have the recording, you will have the codes. You can try to apply this, and if you find any problem, you can anytime ask Arun sir, so he will connect you to me. Yeah? So here what we'll do is I create an application called as, let me call it as node API demo app. Yeah, let's call it as node API, or I want to make it for products, so I'll say node products API application. Inside this node products API, if you have installed node.js already, see, you will have access to npm also. Yeah, you will have access to npm. Now using this npm, let me create an application. So how do I create an application? Here is, I will say I will open my uh, cmd. Here cmd will also work, PowerShell will also work. The command for that is what? Npm init hyphen y. Okay, we'll say npm init hyphen y. So it will do what? Create an application, and if you want to give all the values by yourself, you can also do. See, it will create a package.json file for me. If you don't want to do that, like you want to give the name of your application, everything by yourself, you can skip that hyphen y. Here what it has done, it has created an application by name what? Products hyphen API. Then main file will be index scripts, and this is all goes inside this package.json file, which is more like a controller file for me. Now I want to open this folder in my VS Code. How will I do that? Right click. See, even if you don't have that option available, usually what I do, I have an option of open with code. But if not that way, you can do what? Go to the same directory, or you know what? Open VS Code directly. Open your VS Code. I have must be having a lot of file open. I'll close them all. I'll go to file and I'll say open a folder and take them to the folder you are working on. Take them to the folder you are working on. So my folder is in Hinduja Node.js. This is my folder which I want to open as my Node.js application. Okay, this is what I want to open as an Node.js application. Now, after I create this, what will I do? I will actually go and create here a file. Let me open a file and let me call it as app.js file. I will call this as app.js. Just for the record, the theme and the other things what I'm using, I can, like, if you require, I will post it out there. I am creating a JS file, and in this JS file, what I want to do is I want to create my APIs. How will I do that? Okay, let me show you that. So for that to happen, okay, for that to happen, what will I do is I need Express. Yeah, I need Express. So let's do what? Const Express is equal to, now there is a function called as require will go and tell them that we need something. And what are we looking for? We are looking for Express, which is an API. Then using this Express, I'll say const app is the Express, which is the function, so I get the access to this app. Now, simple, if I want to create this, I'll say app dot, there are multiple types of APIs. Have you heard about get, post, put, delete? Have you heard about get, post, put, delete, and so on? Yeah. So based on that, what exactly happens here is we have got, I want to create a get API, and in that get API, I'm going to say what is the name of my API. I'll say slash hello. Simple API what I want to create here. Then it takes a function. Yeah, it takes a function which will have your request and response object. It takes a function which will have your request and response object. So I'll just say request and response object. Request object will give you what request will have, response will give you what response will have. And then I don't want to do any response processing here. I'll just simply say response dot send, what is that, hello world. And then I will need to host this server. So for that, I'll say const my port number is, let's say, 3000. Port number is 3000, and then I'll say app dot listen. So where will this listen? This will listen on port. And what is that initial function we have to provide here is, let's say, console log server is listening on port on, because it is on my local host, I can say localhost http localhost colon, and then I can just say plus, and I can pass port. Okay, I can pass port. So this is where it will start my, it will nothing but start my server. Okay, then what will happen is, let's try to execute this. You know how to execute this one. So I will start my terminal in VS Code. You know how to start the terminal, right? You can go to this terminal on the top here as well. Create a new terminal, and here I will simply say node space app.js, and this time I got an error. If you see, it is saying that I do not have Express. Now, can anyone tell me why this? Can you try to find a reason why this is happening? I'll keep this open for a minute. Tell me what can be the reason that this is happening. Package is not installed 100%. So I require a package here, and that package is what? Express. How will I install that? I will say npm install. Name of the package is Express because I have seen that. So now after I do the installation, see what happens. It executed it and package is installed. Now if I go back and try to execute it again, see this time it is saying server is listening on what port? Localhost colon 3000. And if I take this localhost 3000, see http colon slash slash localhost colon 3000 slash, see if I only go to this one it cannot get anything, but if I say slash hello, see is it giving me the output of hello world? Why? Because I have created an API. This is one of the API. I do in the next one is, let's take it to the next level. I want to okay, just a minute.